Hello there, welcome back to another YouTube video with Ungainly Titan, and we're on the New Dawn, Capture the Base, Standard Battle Mode, World of Warships Legends. I am in the HMS Warspite. So at Christmas I was thinking of buying a premium ship, but I thought they were expensive. So I thought I'd consider it further, and last night I decided, quite late actually, to buy the Warspite. I had been looking at the Warspite. I've had a certain regard always for the Warspite. Most battle honours, I think, of any ship in the Royal Navy, was almost everywhere in the Second World War, except the Pacific probably. And actually, she was in the Pacific. She just didn't engage. She sailed through the Pacific to go to India, and she served in the Indian Ocean for a while. The grand old lady herself fought at Jutland, among other places, in World War I, as well as numerous engagements in World War II. And I definitely, it has almost single-handedly, this ship has renewed my interest in World Warships. Because up till now I've been struggling with battleships. I mean, I would really struggle to get 40 or 50,000 damage in a tier 5 battleship with, say, the New Mexico. And similarly with ships like the Arkansas or the other battleships prior to that. And since I've rolled out in the Warspite, 50,000 points of damage is no problem. So I'm not exactly sure what it is, whether it's just a run of beginner's luck or a run of whatever. But so far I've had some great games in the Warspite, and this is one of the better ones actually. So what do I find with her? I think I definitely find her more responsive to the helm. She speeds up and slows down with more alacrity than the American battleships that I've tried out prior to this. Now I've also tried around the Yamato, and the Yamato is pretty sluggish. Now, it's a different kind of experience, and there's all sorts of you're getting 4 versus 4s or 3 versus 3 games with the Yamato. Sometimes just Yamatos versus Yamatos, but I will talk about that in another video. So she seems to be pretty hard hitting, she seems to be pretty resilient, very good heal. In fact, I find that the heal, use the heal when the ship's on fire, and not only will it heal as fast as the fire is burning, it'll heal faster than the fire is burning. And that is a spanking and a half there in that New York. So, and it does that with a reasonable degree of regularity as well. I seem to have far more easier time hitting citadels with the Warspite than with any of the other ships that I've got. And the other thing, of course, is, as well as her reputation, her historical reputation, I think the Warspite's a great name. The Royal Navy had some great names for ships. Warspite, Illustrious, Indefatigable, Defiant, Dreadnought, Thunderchild, although they never really used Thunderchild, that's H.G. Wells. They should have used Thunderchild. It's a great name, and it's certainly in the style of Royal Navy warship names. So the New York, not having enough at the start there, is out coming looking for more. It's okay, we'll oblige. Not as good, but still, you know, it's chunking away. And there's more than me firing at the New York. The New York is pretty isolated, she's on her own. Now, I think at this point the New York has realised her degree of isolation is starting to turn around, and depends. If she turns around and gives me a broadside going back the other way, I'm going to be quite happy to let her. So let's see how far she's going to take the turn. Okay, looks like she's steaming away. She's going to maintain the angle, but trying to avoid getting stuck on the map border. Still, that was a nice chunk of damage. However, I've now made it to the corner and I've exposed my ship to more than one enemy ship, so I'm going to turn, bring the broadside to bear on the New York, because the New York hasn't got all her guns firing at me and is going to be waiting for turrets to turn around. And meanwhile, by changing my direction and profile, I have minimized my risk from torpedoes in that cruiser. And I'm minimizing my profile of the cruiser, who can fire all their guns at me. And there's the cruiser's torpedoes. New York is certainly running out of time and health. Don't know if it's going to be me or the other ship. The other ship seems to be firing short though. Need to aim their shots out more. Although again, like I said, it's a tricky target when it's heading away from you like that. It looks like my secondary guns and the fires, that fell short. I have taken out the cruiser. So, one more round, shots out, looking good. And we finish off to New York. So now I can afford to use the damage control on the fire. And we kick off a second heal to recover the damaged, the hit points lost. And we outnumber the enemy, well, almost 2-1, but it will be 2-1 now as soon as that Omaha clears the headland. Because there's a wall of torpedoes heading at it. So things are actually looking pretty good for our team. Think it'd be a simple, just mopping up job, no more problems, and we'll sort them out. Turns out that the enemy team is actually going to be a bit tougher than that. In particular, one of the battleships remaining is going to be tougher than that. Fairly well played, actually. They're not in sight yet. They're lined up there at the far side, but near some islands. They're engaging our entire fleet. There's the Mitsuki, and we're spotted. We're coming around the corner, and there's the New Mexico sitting dead in the water. Now, I'm of the opinion, I don't know, I think you should avoid sitting dead in the water with American battleships. It just takes so long for them to get moving again. Now, he's probably dead in the water because he's decided he wanted to start reversing. But I couldn't help thinking that he might have been better off if he just kept steaming forward and we just went through the gap between the two islands. Because the New Mexico's given broadside to most of our fleet. And at least if she was moving, she'd be a slightly harder target to hit. Now the New Mexico's starting to reverse, and we're just, the fire just raining in on her. But there's a long way back, and I don't think she'll be able to reverse far away enough. Particularly when she's given broadside to a couple of ships, including the Warspite. I'm going to start bringing all my guns to bear, I think. Because I got the shelter of an island here very shortly. And just wait for my turrets to realign. Well, we'll fire one half, we'll fire the other half. Nice chunks of damage. I don't get to finish her off, though somebody else did. The Bayern is steaming away. And is now in the shelter of the island, at least from me. So, it looks like somebody's threatening our cap circle. Well, it's not the Bayern, so it must be the enemy destroyer. And we are, meanwhile, chasing down the Bayern. We still hold our advantage. Shots out. And the Bayern manages to angle away, and most of those miss, I think. 2 bounces. The rest miss. I'd say I just barely got the edge of his armor belt. So, Bayern is now, what, steaming away from me, but protected by the island, but is going to have to turn because there's an island to the north, and turns sailing across me. So we're going to get shots out against the flat broadside. And that gives me the high caliber award. And a nice piece of damage as well. No citadels though. So Bayern actually managed to time that turn quite nicely. I didn't think that the Bayern would make the turn at that point, that she was too close to the island. And the enemy had actually managed, before the sinking of the New Mexico, like, the enemy had actually managed to claw back the sunk cruiser and a battleship. And the Bayern has actually, I think, managed to take, or somebody managed to take out another cruiser, either the Bayern or the destroyer. And I think that cruiser there beside me is going a little too close to the Bayern as well, and is likely to get sunk as well. Once she getting a secondary range in a cruiser is not something you should really do. I know there's a battleship with her, but I'm coming around the other side of the island and I'm spotted, which means the destroyer is somewhere nearby. So I'm almost certainly spotted by the destroyer there. So somewhere behind me or somewhere off my port stern is a destroyer, and I gotta start changing course and weaving and things like that just to try and make it a little bit harder for the torpedoes to hit me. It's gonna be very hard avoiding torpedoes. Although again, not as hard on the Warspite as it has been in my previous experience with battleships. The Warspite is far more nimble than any battleship I've had previous experience with. That's not to say it's like destroyer or cruiser nimble. It's just a lot more nimble than I'm sort of used to. And the Bayern is engaged on both sides, main batteries, secondary batteries. Managed to sink the cruiser, and my secondary batteries have just gone off, which means that destroyer is close enough to be seen. Mitsuki. And it's time I slow down and maybe change course. I'm turning in towards it, but he's too far gone for me to actually turn in, so I'm better off turning out. But the rudder shift is fast, but not that fast, and I just narrowly failed to avoid one of those torpedoes and narrowly failed to avoid any damage. So we did take damage. Fortunately, my damage control party had not been used, so it was available to immediately put a stop to the flooding, because I didn't have a lot of hit points left and I'm out of heals. Right, let's keep the stern pointing towards the destroyer if I can possibly manage it, and continue my pursuit. I'm gonna put up my fighter plane as well. Gives me a slightly better chance of spotting torpedoes, I think, before they appear. And I'm now going to try and engage the Bayern. Stay after the Bayern. I think the Bayern probably has more hit points than I do. And my allied destroyer is over there. Okay, the Bayern is coming around the back of the island. And we just keep maneuvering because we do not want that. The Mitsuki is chasing me, so it's going to have to get closer than normal to fire torpedoes with a chance of intercepting, as long as I keep going away, which I intend to do. And if the Bayern keeps having me broadside, the first shot missed completely, but hopefully the next one will be somewhat better. There's the torpedoes from the Mitsuki and and we have a smoke screen, which is going to be useful because it'll cut down the chances of the Mitsuki being able to spot me. I'm still spotted. We did get some fire into the Bayern, but I think it was a torpedo that finished it off. And she's down. We'll thank the destroyer for its assistance, and hopefully, between the two of us, we can take out that destroyer. Because we're only barely hitting points, and we're not. We haven't broken contact with the destroyer. The destroyer's still lying around there somewhere nearby. Hopefully, I can get turned before the destroyer will notice that I'm actually pointing back. I'm not giving her a broadside when I get out of the smoke screen, and smoke screen's starting to dissipate. Mitsuki's been spotted and fired torpedoes, but not at me. Secondaries have managed to score a hit there, and we got hit with the primary weapon, give us a Confederate, and we got credit for the sinking of it. And I think we probably did that with the secondary guns because we finished up with a close quarters expert. So we have fireproof, more than my own hit points from fire damage, close quarters expert, Confederate, and high caliber. And we finish up with 100,000 damage done. 3 ships killed. Came number 1 by experience. and we actually finished up with the most amount of money, or one of the largest sums of money that I've earned in a single battle in a warship in this game so far, with 148,000 doubloons. So this is going to be my primary earner, I think, for the near future. Just the sheer amount of credit that it earns. It also, I find it's a very good ship for completing these kind of trials. I actually played it for a few games after this particular game, and I managed to clear out quite a few of these trials. So it's a very good ship for doing ops and trials as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.